Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today, third one of the day, I will be reviewing Houses of the Unholy, the new book by Brubaker and Sean Phillips, and coloring by Jacob Phillips, which I'm guessing is his son. That would be Sean Phillips, not Ed Brubaker. Alright. This book, published by Image Comics. It's $24.99 American, $33.99 Canadian. Image, and it is hardback. It is basically reminiscent. It deals with the satanic panic from like the 80s and 90s, or that's how the backstory is. There was 6 kids who were kidnapped back in 87, which is pretty much in the height of satanic panic, because there's back in the day, I remember it well, like all the bands, supposedly had, satanic messages in them. If you played them backwards, there was messages from the devil on them, and I remember people telling me that KISS stood for Knights in Satan Services, and AC/DC stood for Antichrist Devil Child. And I was like, no, dude, look on the plug on the wall, dude. Then if you think that's the case, you can't use electricity. But so it's, just stuff like that. But these kids supposedly got kidnapped by some Satanists, because it never really shows them, them being kidnapped. And there's a trial, and they accuse the nurses and all that, nurse and a cop and all that, and there's some. Then you find out later that those what do you call them? Memories were sort of implanted by the psychiatrist. And then we have the main character in this book is Mrs. James. What is her first name? Excuse me. Anyway, she has been dealing not well with the memories of what happened to her all these years. And she is sort of like a deprogrammer, or not really a deprogrammer. She will, find the kids, get them back to their parents, and then the parents are the ones that do the deprogramming from cults. And that's where we find her at the beginning of the book. You see her pulling up into nighttime on these kind of out of the way little motels and cabins. She says, yeah, I want the room way back here, and pays cash and all that, pulls the car back, and then you see her pulling the kid out of the trunk. And she smokes pot. It's medicinal so she says. Uh, the kid tries to escape due to circumstances, and that is when James runs into some cops who arrest her for kidnapping, transporting a kid across state lines, all this other happy shit that, would. And she's just like, oh, I'm using a fake ID. She's going to be in a little bit of trouble for that. More so the kidnapping and transporting the child across that state lines thing than, the fake ID thing. But then you get the next morning an FBI agent shows up, gets her out of prison, and actually Natalie Burns. Okay, Natalie Burns is her name. The other one was a fake name that she used. Natalie Burns. And this FBI agent gets her out of prison because he is doing an investigation. 2 or 3 of the other kids from that, the 6 are dead. And those 3 of them are dead over the past year, and he thinks that there's a conspiracy to murder him, and he needs her help. And you don't really find out a lot of what's going on. That's as per Brubaker's style. You don't find that information out, what happened with her as a kid, right away. It's kind of interspersed throughout the story. And so she is, the rest of the book is them going to try and get the other 2 surviving members to save them and find out who's trying to kill them. I don't want to give too much of it away because there is it's as with Brubaker's stuff, nothing goes as you expect. And as usual, this story is top notch, especially when you get his horror stuff. There's only been one thing that I've read of his that I didn't really like, and that was the Immortal Iron Fist. They had a big, thick trade, and I didn't like that. But everything else of his I've read is exceptional. Yes, some a little bit more exceptional than others, but still just top notch. And this here is also one of the top notch ones. I don't want to get too much into detail on what's going on because I don't want to give away any plot points other than what this is, what I've told you. It's very well done. There's one thing that I actually kind of got that I called, in the book. But if you've read mysteries or horror, you're probably going to make that call too. But that was the one thing, and that didn't bug me at all because I'm the type of guy that'll try and figure this stuff out. This isn't really it's not really a whodunit type of thing. It's what happened type of thing and what's going to happen type thing. And I can tell you that the ending was not what I expected. As is always the case with this, you can never generally can never see where the story is gonna wind up. Which is one of the reasons I like his stuff so much. But, so as I read through it, it came to me that the story is just enthralling. It sucks you in right away, keeps you interested. You know, there's the back and forth between, okay, what happened back in the '80s, what's happening now, the relationship between her and the FBI agent, what's happening with the investigation. All that stuff is just wonderfully entwined, and it's not forced. It's not, you know, some of these things you're like, okay, yeah, that wouldn't fucking happen. This is just, it's just so smooth. And with Sean Phillips' art, it just and Jacob's coloring, it just, the story grabs you, the art kind of grabs you. It's just the way that Sean Phillips does it. And then you combine the two, it's just really hard to put it down. That's why I went through it so quick. I mean, it's only like 100-something pages to begin with. But it just pulls you in and refuses to let you go because you really want to read it and find out what's going to happen. But you also don't want to go through it, or at least with me, didn't want to go through it too quick, because that means once you get done, there's no more. And so that's the only problem I have with his stuff is, you know, it's like, do I just burn through it like I want to, or do I slow it down a little bit and make it last? Well, as usual, I didn't really have much a choice, because I just, boom, went through it. And I am going to give this a 5 out of 5. It's not, I mean, there are some that I liked a little bit better, which is not to say that I didn't like this one. But this is a top-notch quality book, just as you'd expect from Sean and Ed. Okay, using first names as if I know them personally. Yeah, right. Okay. And like I said, 5 out of 5. So pick it up, read it. You'll enjoy the hell out of it. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it, if you've read it already. Like, subscribe, most of all, enjoy your comics.